Welcome back to another episode, the first episode of the Built World Around You. I'm so excited to have Nicholas Czar on the show. Nicholas, thank you so much for joining the show. I can't wait to dive into these questions and get the audiences to have some one-on-one conversations with you.
Thank you, Bobby. I appreciate it. I appreciate the invite. I'm excited to work with you in this forum here, and just want to say thank you for the invite. I'm excited to be here. For the first one, too. I've never done this before, so it's my first as well.
You're the guy, and we're working through all types of technical difficulties. It's going to be great to get you here on the show. You know, as we're doing this weekly, there's going to be a lot of opportunity to revisit and to rehash and have conversations. So looking forward to talking with you some more today, but also in the future.
I'm excited about it as well. Thank you again for the invite.
You're very welcome. So for those that are tuning in, who are you and what do you do?
Yeah, thank you. My name is Nicholas Czar, and I serve as the Group Vice President at New Homestar over what we call the Builder Solutions team, or the Builder Solutions Group. And really what this is I get the opportunity to help a team of individuals at New Homestar assist home builders in selling homes more efficiently, a little bit faster, sell more of them, and do it in a way where they can capture a little bit more margin. And so my role is a little bit unique in the sense where I get to work with a number of home builders across North America, including Canada as well. But on top of that, I get to support my team. So I play a couple of different roles inside of this. I'm part strategist, I'm part operator, and also play a role as a coach from my team there. So that's kind of what I do at this point for New Homestar.
That's fantastic. That's fantastic. How did you get involved with New Homestar?
Yeah, great question. I really started my career right out of college. In fact, I did my internship. I got a marketing degree from Central Michigan University. And in order to graduate, I had to do an internship. And I remember going to that career fair and looking at all of the tables. And there was these big, long lines at the pharmaceutical tables and big, long lines at the medical device tables. And then I looked over there, I saw a home builder table and nobody was in front of it. And I said, well, I'm going to go talk to this person, because I didn't want to blend into a line. I wanted to kind of stand out and have a real conversation. And it was at that point I was able to connect with Pulte Homes and secure an internship. I started there, did my internship in the Metro Detroit market with Pulte Homes. And then fortunately, they gave me a job offer so I could go back to my senior year of college, having a job in hand, finish up my last semester. And I think my last class was like on a Wednesday. And that following Saturday, I was in a model home ready to sell homes and start my training process. So that's really where I started. And I spent quite a bit of time in the Metro Detroit market with Pulte. Then I got recruited to go work for KB Home in the Phoenix, Arizona market. Worked for them for a few years. Then I transitioned over to Meritage Homes, spent quite a bit of time with them. And so after about 17 years on the sales floor, selling in multiple different markets, different product types, etc., I finally got the call from New Homestar, who invited me to serve as a director of sales for them in the Phoenix market, representing William Ryan Homes. And so that's really where I started with New Homestar. And since then, it's been quite a ride. I've had the opportunity to work in multiple markets. I've served in Texas, Illinois, Wisconsin. I mean, the list kind of goes Pennsylvania, Ohio, Kentucky, et cetera, et cetera. And so through that role, I've had the opportunity to work with multiple home builders across the country, see many different markets, and really expand my knowledge base so that I can now serve my teammates and, most importantly, serve my builder partners and making sure they sell more homes more profitably.
Man, that's fantastic. When I think of that well-rounded perspective of the different markets, you know, you can't put any type of capital unless you know what you don't know. Mm-hmm. And having a well-rounded experience is always exciting to hear that some of the guiding lights out there has what you have. And that's a well-versed, well-rounded knowledge and backing up of this content that you're sharing with builders out there. So let me ask you this. When you think of the built world around you, mm-hmm. what's one project, community, network, company, or even event or relationship that personally inspired you the most in your career and your journey, and why?
Yeah, that's a great question, Bobby. I appreciate you asking it. And, you know, there's so many different points of reference there when you think through the different projects and communities. I've had the opportunity to be involved in literally thousands of builder project communities across the country. I've seen some incredible things, right? We have the gigantic master plans in Arizona where you have 5 square miles with you know, 26 different builders and 45 different models and welcome centers. And I mean, it's like the whole cruise ship. It's like Disneyland there. And so I've had the opportunity to participate in some of those, but I've also had the opportunity to participate in the community that's in the middle of a cornfield in kind of nowhere, Wisconsin as well. And, you know, each of those two scenarios has different context to it, right? Like in the big master plan, you're going to get those a lot of traffic, but now you have to really focus on differentiating your product and differentiating your offering because there is so much competition. Conversely, when you go to that cornfield in Wisconsin, you know, you're going to have a much higher conversion rate because, well, you're the only thing there. So if they came to see you, they came to see you. And so you're going to get a much higher conversion rate, but then your struggle is going to be a little bit more so focused on driving the appropriate amount of traffic and driving the right traffic so that you can achieve those pace goals to exceed the pro forma. But when I think about what's exciting me right now, I think of an event. And as some of people may have heard on social media, et cetera, but we just wrapped up the 2025 New Home Star Sales Rally in Austin, Texas. And so I like to talk about this, and it really excites me because to my knowledge, it is the biggest new home sales event of the year. Well, we bring over 300 people to Austin, Texas. We went to the Barton Creek Resort there, which is absolutely stunning. And we brought over 300 of our closest teammates, friends, industry partners, and home builder partners to come together and collaborate. And this year's theme was shift. And the reason why we selected that theme is because we believe right now that it's essential for new home sales teams, leaders, and home builders to make that shift into using technology and leveraging technology, specifically AI, to automate a lot of their repeatable tasks.
Absolutely.
And our teammates to jump on board and do this now because we believe that the team that makes that shift first and steps into it is going to be the team that will eventually win. And so as we kind of discuss these various different AI strategies, which I believe we'll probably get into here a little bit today, but when we think about it, I think it's interesting because a lot of sales associates are scared of AI. They're hesitant to try it. There's concern that AI is going to replace them in the process. And so, you know, a lot of people say, hey, I'm just not going to deal with this at all. I'm just going to ignore it and hope it goes away and just keep going about my business. And that's one strategy. But we believe the better strategy is to embrace it, lean in, be the first one to try, and then you're the one who can win your market. You're the one who can win that segment of your market versus your 2 or 3 competitors that you're lined up against. Does that make sense?
Exactly right. You're right. Why do the same thing and expect a different result, right?
Yeah.
Why do you think that there's some hesitation? What is the fear out there against these evolving technologies and automation tools?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of it is right. Like people are going to want to stick to what works. And we also see too that sales associates, when they get under stress, they tend to revert back to what has worked to them in the past. It's a very logical conclusion. And I think it's a very human, natural reaction, particularly under stress. You'll immediately go back to what had worked for you in the past and employ that strategy or employ that thing because, hey, it worked for you in the past. But what we believe is that those sales associates that are going to take the time to lean in and also creating systems inside of your organization to leverage strategies, because I find it completely funny when I watch home builders and other business people try to approach a lot of these AI initiatives. And a lot of them are taking a very top-down approach where you have your senior leaders saying, hey, this is how we're going to use AI, or hey, let's pursue that strategy. Because when you're looking at it from a senior leadership level, the hard part is there's so much out there. What do we select to pursue? And what do we select to pass by? And what parts can we automate and what parts can we not? And so there's a lot of that decision-making happening up at the senior level leader, but we believe the best AI ideas and applications are going to come from the ground level. They're going to come from the field. And so if you're a senior leader trying to develop a system to figure out how your company can use AI the best, my best advice I can give to you is figure out a way to create those communication lines to the field level folks and have them submit their ideas. I worked with one home builder kind of in the Philadelphia market. And I was kind of saying, hey, maybe you should do a monthly or a quarterly contest and give $1,000 away to the best AI idea that you've received that month or that quarter. because it'll be well worth your money. And they're like, absolutely. And so now they've created this upward flow of ideas
Mm.
so that now the senior leaders can actually make the investments and make them wise based upon the guidance of their field level personnel.
I love that. And information coming from the doers, right? The ones that are the closest to the problem and the ones that are going to be able to create the solutions that impact their positions, their roles the correct way. I love that.
Well, and
Well,
I listen to sales associates and they're like, oh, AI is going to take our jobs. And, part of my role too is that I oversee an online sales concierge service that we help builders with. So I have a team of nearly 30 online sales counselors that take the phone calls for home builders. And there's a lot of stress from them, from also our sales associates saying, oh, AI is going to automate my job. It's going to take it away. But here's the thing, and this is what I keep telling them, and it's what I truly believe. Will AI replace a lot of jobs? Of course it will. But sales will be the last one that it replaces. And the reason is because as wonderful and fantastic as AI is, it has no EQ. It has
that's
no
right.
emotional intelligence. It can't read facial expressions. And if you know anything about sales, over 70% of the communication coming from a human being is nonverbal.
That's right.
And so you can train it to read facial cues and then respond a particular way, but it cannot do it on its own. And so my message to online sales associates out there and sales associates working in the field, working in a model home right now is please don't stress about this, because the fact is that your ability to read people and interact and communicate with people on an emotional level cannot be duplicated by AI at this time.
Right.
And so utilize this technology to gain an advantage over your competition. And we kind of have a saying here at New Home Star, which is that we're not here to automate your job, but we want to augment your job. You will
Uh,
not be replaced by AI, but you might be replaced by another sales associate that has great EQ and uses AI. So don't be that guy or that gal.
well, I think what we're talking about, right, is embracing the thing that you're in fear of,
Mhm.
right? And most oftentimes, the most difficult things are the most beneficial. So if those folks are able to get out of their comfort zone and learn, like you said, and actually augment their current, what's made them successful so far, and they augment it with what you're offering, it sounds like it's a no-brainer of success.
Well, and you're absolutely right. And synergy is key there too, because the way that I use AI may not be the same way you use it, Bobby.
Right.
And that's going to be true of every single sales associate in the field for home builders across the country. The question is how do you take the learning from Bobby over here and mesh it with the learning Sally's doing over here so that they can share ideas and create synergies with them? Oh, you're using it in that way. I'm using it in this way. That actually brings me to one of the other products that we offer from New Home Star, which is the New Home Connect platform. So we actually have an online platform. It's very similar to almost like a social media site where we have nearly 1,000 sales associates from home builders across North America interacting in a social media format there. And one of the really neat things about this tool and what companies can do is that they can implement a tool like this. They can actually call us. We can do it for them if they want, but they can actually implement a tool like this for their company, which then allows this cross collaboration and interdepartmental communication where you can share ideas, leverage them, post certain prompts, whether you're doing competition studies, whether you're
Oh,
you're
wow.
researching how to drive additional traffic, but sharing those ideas in a forum like that, which is closed to your company, but yet the ideas are available for everybody. So
Hmm.
it's creating that upward flow of ideas like we talked about earlier, but also creating the networking effects by allowing folks to actually cross communicate across divisions, across sales teams, across their own team of saying, hey, I utilized this technology in this way and had great success with it. And then
Right.
guess what? We're going to get an idea from somebody in a different division across the country. And the company that actually rolls up those ideas and finds a way to collaborate those and leverage those ideas, like collect and leverage them, I believe is the one that's going to win their market and win their segment.
I think that's great. It's interesting that folks are not using from a think tank basis
Mhm.
to find out what's the next big innovation, what's the best practices that are working, and why wouldn't you use what is currently working and see if it works for you, and then add on to it, and then cross pollinate that content to other divisions and other teams to make everyone more successful. Wow. Are you seeing that there is a problem solving skill set out there? And if and the second question on that,
Mhm.
do you feel that we've lost our ability to refine our problem solving skill sets?
Um, yes, I think you need a problem-solving skill set for sure, right? But when I think about technology adoption, I think of, your standard adoption curve. You're always going to have your early adopters, and
Mhm.
you have the crux, most of the people that are going to join as adopters, and then of course you're going to have your laggards behind them. And so if you think of a standard bell curve, standard deviation, I believe that's what's going to happen here. But as far as a problem solving mindset, I do believe you need to change it a little bit, because while we still believe relationships are key, particularly in this industry, we have another saying at New Home Star, which is we believe in relationships over revenue. We believe relationships are the key driver. And so that's going to remain the key driver. And so when you're looking at problem solving, of course, you're going to want to reach out to your relationships, whether it be a mentor or somebody who's more experienced or somebody who's been through something that maybe you haven't experienced yet. And that's a great opportunity to kind of collaborate and find solutions to new problems that you're facing. But, as we kind of stick with this theme of AI a little bit, if you're not leveraging technology to solve
Mhm.
some of these problems, it's a huge miss. And once again, from a sales standpoint, whether you are a sales leader for a home builder or a sales associate for a leader, I don't believe your job is in jeopardy at all. It is only under jeopardy of somebody who has the same skill set as you do, but is using the technology in a more robust and more effective way than you are. And so to me, that's where your competition lies. And so, as home builders, if you're an operator, you're looking at your entire division saying, okay, I've got this wonderful AI tool, but I have to be in charge of purchasing. I have construction. I have finance. I have all these various different like columns of business.
Spinning all the plates.
You're spinning all the plates. And so it's like, where do I leverage this first? And, nothing against home builder operators, but, I will say a majority of them, in my experience, tend to come from either the construction, the finance, or the land backgrounds. In fact, if I were to say, put a percentage on it, I would say probably more than 95% of divisional leaders for major home builders in this country come from one of those three disciplines.
That's right.
And so when you come from that discipline, your natural inclination is to apply the technology to your area of expertise. But what I would challenge those operators to do is say, look, that's your expertise, and that's great. But how are you challenging your teammates, your vice presidents underneath you, to leverage it in their columns of business? Because
Mm.
let's face it, you're not an expert in those. And even though you have the big title, you don't know everything. So you have to leverage that communication and those relationships to effectively problem solve and ask them to use AI as part of their solution.
I love it. And I think that there's obviously using AI responsibly, right? No one wants to put, and I think a lot of that fear mongering about AI and in the sector is, hey, we don't want our proprietary information getting out. We don't want to put our secret sauce, right? We don't want to put our Big Mac sauce out in the world for someone to be able to replicate. But there are very intelligent ways, very pragmatic ways to go about and using this software. And it sounds like New Homestar is giving the simple steps to those builders out there and showing them the way.
Absolutely. And in fact, I'll take it even a step further. On our New Home Connect platform, which is the platform I talked about, where we have nearly 1,000 sales agents interacting on this, next month, and this is probably the first time that anybody's talked about this. I guess we'll be announcing it on your show today, Bobby. But
I love it.
really, what we're going to be doing is next month, we're going to be releasing what we call Astro on our platform. And what Astro is it's an AI tool for sales associates to help guide their customers through the most favorable thought processes. And so what we've done over the past 17 years at New Homestar is we've developed such a robust library of sales tools and technology. It's quite incredible. We have things like customer segmentation guides that are specific to the home building industry. We have it all leveraged inside of a platform. We've leveraged AI tools in terms of developing training videos that are scalable throughout the entire organization. So on this platform, there's an LMS type of application for it as well. But there's also an ops cycle part of this platform where you can actually do your competition studies, and it builds on itself so you can see the arc of that competition and the arc of your project versus your competition over time as well. And so when you think about all these people interacting with these tools in this environment, we're actually going to be releasing what we're naming Astro, which is going to be our new home star specific chatbot for new home sales associates. And so what this will do is this will open up the door for sales leaders. If I'm a sales leader, right, and I've served in this role for many home builders across the country, and as a sales leader, I would say that one of your single biggest challenges is having enough time to do your job, having enough time to do things, right? And because you've got your operator calling you, and your land person wants you to go drive a piece of land, and you got to go walk these inventory homes to figure out strategies to move them quickly, but you got to train a new person over here, but yet your vet has a question over here. And so you're pulled in all these different directions, and you find a lot of sales associates where the day is running them rather than them run the day. And so with a tool like this Astro, you can condition your folks to say, hey, when you have a question about how to overcome an objection, you faced a new challenge that you're not sure how to handle. Or maybe it's something as simple as, hey, I don't know the right discovery questions to ask a prospect to see if they're a real viable customer or not. In those types of scenarios, they can go right to Astro, ask that question, and the answer they're going to receive is going to be built on hundreds of combined years of new home sales experience. Wow. Over 60,000 responses to peer learning questions that we've collected over this past 17 years, as well as the playbook that we've refined over home builders of all sizes and all product types across the country as well. So we believe this will give them the tool to have the most comprehensive answers at the point of sale, therefore freeing up their leaders, giving them more time back in their day, providing the team with the resource at the point of sale, and overall providing a way for your team to continuously improve and get better.
Oh, I love that. I love that. I'm curious. Now, we're talking about using these as a multiplier, right? Mm-hmm. Not as a crutch. Is the intent for those sales professionals, when they're using these and they're learning these cues and they're learning this content, that it's really to strengthen them? It's not to teach them now from their job to prompts. Mm-hmm. It's teaching them those stepping stones that they were inquisitive about, but didn't have the resource available to obtain. Now you are providing a resource to continue to strengthen and improve them
on an ongoing and continuous basis while leveraging the AI technology. Because, when we started this platform over 15 years ago, we had a section, what was called peer learning. And so this is where anybody in the country can throw up a question and they'll get responses from sales teams and salespeople all across the country. It could be, hey, I'm trying to drive more traffic of this particular targeted consumer group. Any ideas? How did you do it? Or, hey, I faced this objection about the backyard being too small. How would you do it? Or, hey, here's a picture of a home with a transformer in the middle of the backyard, and I'm getting objections on it. How would you overcome it? Or how would you approach this? And so that allowed them to connect with our community of nearly 1,000 people and receive really great responses. But that was pre-AI. And so now what we've done is we've cataloged we have over 60,000 answers that have been given to various questions throughout the years. And so we've been able to catalog those and utilize the AI tool to quick search those, provide the information and additional context that is specific not only to that sales associate's project, but also to the customer and the buyer that they're working with.
Well, it sounds like what we're talking about here is the differentiators between what will now be someone who leverages their resources to become top performers and those that continue to do the same thing and expect a different result.
Yeah. And, I'd like to jump back on something you had mentioned earlier, Bobby, which is that, there is a lot of fear, I think, from home builders that they don't want their secret sauce out there. Okay.
That's right. It's fair.
I don't mean to sound cutting here, but I would say that your product is not a secret. Nobody's home building product is a secret. Okay. Like we all know what a 2x4 is and a 2x6 is. You know what I mean? We all know what
That's right.
cellulose insulation is or spray foam insulation. So you can certainly differentiate yourself based upon specifications, which then, of course, is going to affect the home's performance and it's going
Absolutely.
to affect your positioning. It's going to affect the way the sales associate presents it and the way that this construction team builds it. So you can differentiate your product. But I would say from a product standpoint, there is no secret sauce. It's just a difference of specs. And so if your specifications are different, then that's great. That's how you differentiate your product. But when we think about what is the secret sauce of a home builder, to me, it's the branding, it's the positioning, and it's the people. And so that's the secret sauce. And you're not going to put that in an AI form for somebody to consume, because even if they could consume it and attempt to duplicate it, they wouldn't be able to.
That's right.
So if that's the case, stop being fearful. Nobody's going to steal how you frame a house. Like, we all hire the same subcontractors in the same markets to build basically similar homes, right?
That's right.
It's going to be the specifications. And so if you're worried about your secret sauce getting stolen, I would say don't worry about that so much. And I would encourage those leaders to spend more time pouring into their people and providing their people with the resources and the communication channels to leverage this new technology, and then share not only with their peers, but share upward of the successes that they're experiencing. And then replicating and duplicating that experience, because that's the issue, right? Is that you have Bobby Joe on the West Coast doing one thing, you got Billy Sue on the East Coast doing another thing, and they could totally help each other, but they don't know that they're both working on similar AI initiatives.
Oh, that's great. That's great. And I think that we've hit so many nuggets, and you've given such great insights, and I appreciate you. I do have one final question for you.
Yeah.
If you could leave one blueprint, an idea, a principle, or a lesson for the next generation of professionals and problem solvers, what would it be?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And there's a lot of answers I have to it. And so I'm going to kind of jump around a little bit when we think about the blueprint and we think about the legacy. The first thing I would tell new home sales leaders and new home sales associates is to consistently remember that you're serving two parties at all times. Now, of course, you're going to be serving your builder partner. And I think that's important to distinguish. And I won't go off in too much of a tangent here, but I'll say that a lot of times sales associates, particularly for the larger publicly traded builders, they don't get the regular touch points inside of their sales offices from their managers and their leaders. Unfortunately, I find that for a lot of public companies, if you're a manager or a leader, whether it be a director or a VP, you spend a lot of your time sitting in a meeting. You spend a lot of time in a boardroom and a conference room.
Very
and
true.
that's not what homes are sold.
That's right.
And so if you're a sales leader, we believe at New Home Star that you should be in the field 70% of the time and in a meeting 30% of the time. And actually, we ask our home builders to commit to that when we partner with them, because we know that if our team is in the field and our leaders are in the field, that's where they're going to make the biggest impact. But what happens is that the sales associate who's at the point of sale, who hasn't seen their manager in a long time, even though they might be licensed, which means they have a fiduciary to their seller, the builder, and need to provide and represent them and look out for their best interests, sometimes that gets a little bit cloudy when you haven't seen your manager in 3 months, but you keep seeing your customers in front of you every day. And then what happens is that new home sales associate starts representing the buyer rather than the seller.
Right.
And that's a problem for the home builder. And so my encouragement, my blueprint for the new home sales leaders out there would be spend more time in the field and connect with your people, because we can leverage technology and tools to do all of the repeatable stuff. But what cannot be duplicated and what AI cannot do is they cannot go visit your people. They cannot connect with them on an emotional level. They cannot understand that their kid was sick this week and they're dealing more stuff, or maybe their spouse is dealing with something that makes it a little bit more challenging for them at this moment. And being able to be at the point of sale, recognize that, and then respond to it in a human and compassionate way is what's going to allow your sales team to lean into your leadership. But if you're stuck in a conference room, that's not going to happen. And so that would be first for the sales associates, remember who you're representing, and sales leaders, give them the opportunity to remember who they're representing. And so that's kind of the first thing that I would say. The other part of it is that as sales associates and sales leaders, we also have to, while balancing the builder needs and demands, we also have to balance that with the customer's needs and demands as well. And what I mean by that is that it's more important now than ever that the customer journey is continuous and uninterrupted. And so we can leverage AI and various different tools to improve this customer journey and make it feel more seamless. You know, the way that it was in the past is you had this truncated OSC experience on the front end. Then they get to the sales office, they get asked the same 10 questions again. So it makes the customer feel like they're going, like, if you've ever been to the doctor's office, you remember, like, you have to tell the person at the front why you're there, and then you have to go tell the nurse why you're there, then you have to tell the PA, and then the doctor shows up, you have to tell them, like nobody likes that.
Oh, it's so frustrating, right?
Yeah. And so what I would say to whether you're a sales associate or a sales leader, balance the needs of your home builder and remember that you're serving them first. But on the other end, you also have to be very cognizant of your customer's journey and take the opportunity to leverage the tools to make that process more seamless and less truncated. And I believe the team and the builder that does that the best will gain a significant competitive advantage over their counterparts because it'll be easier and more seamless for their customers to actually purchase a home.
That's
and more enjoyable.
Yeah, and that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. And Nicholas, this has been fantastic. I know for a fact that we could peel back more layers and get into other topics. I want to respect your time. I appreciate you so much for coming on the show and sharing all of this wisdom and insight. And folks, if you're not getting with your people, you're not doing the steps that Nicholas is outlining, you need to contact New Home Star. You need to contact Nicholas. Where's the best place for them to find you or to contact you?
You can certainly reach out to me directly at nczar@newhomestar.com. Or you pick up the phone, you can call me. I still have my Arizona number. I'm at 480-600-0307.
Oh, man. You have it. You have no excuse, folks. All right. Nicholas, thank you so much for being on the show. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, Bobby. Have a great day. I appreciate the invite and congrats on the new venture.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll talk again soon.
Bye.
Bye.